What type of guides do you have? Welcome back to my channel, and if I have not met you before, hey, my name is Victoria Bond. I'm a psychic medium and a spiritual empowerment coach. And today I want to talk to you about the different archetypes and entities that you have as your guides. And I also want to talk to you about the difference between a spirit team and spirit guides. There's quite a prominent difference with them. So if you haven't subscribed yet, this is the perfect time to do it. Click the subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, and I would love to hear from you in the comments to hear what resonates with you from this video and what you want me to go deeper into. So first of all, let's start off with what is the difference between a spirit guides and a spirit team? So all in all, this information came to me through my guides when I was asking the difference between the guides that came and went. Like, for instance, I know that my Nana is one of my guides, but she's also one of my sister's guides. So therefore, like, does that mean all guides have many different people that they look after? So I asked them these questions and they shared with me this. When you were born, well, actually, before you were born, before you incarnate into this body, you choose and you're allocated a team. And this is called a spirit team. They are with you from the moment that you were born until the moment that you die. You are the only person, the only being that they are looking after. And this team can consist of many different types of entities, from dragons to light beings to giants and fairies to spirits to angels, you name it. You have got a whole team to support you in this lifetime. Now, I know what many of you are thinking. Well, what is in it for them? Like, what are they doing just being with me, waiting in case I require some contribution? Well, the thing is, when they choose to be a guide, when they choose to be a part of a spirit team, they are learning and they are growing as well. And their time zone is very different to ours. So we may live 100 years on this planet and it may seem like an entire lifetime, literally, but to them, it's very, very short, because the time is completely different. In fact, in the spirit world, time isn't really a thing. But that is a topic for another conversation. So the spirit guides, okay, so your spirit guides, like I mentioned with my Nana and my sister, they can come and go all the time. So literally, this is why you can go, oh, a new guide is coming in. I can feel a new guide coming in, or I used to have a guide that was like this. And guides can pop in at different times of your evolution. So as I'm going through a big up level, a big quantum leap, and this often happens with my clients, another guide will literally land in for that part of your life and that part of your evolution. They can come in a reason, season, or a lifetime, essentially, just like we have with friendships. So even if your guide is with you for the lifetime, they may be in different other people's realities as well. For instance, I know that my Nana, who came to me last night, hangs out with my sister, and she probably has a whole lot of other people that she visits and looks after and guides, essentially. So that's the difference between a spirit team and guides. Guides can come and go, right? And your spirit team is always available for you. And here is the thing that you got to know. This is like a little bonus that I want to tell you right now. Do not wait for your guides to give you guidance. If you want guidance, you have to ask. It is very important that you ask for like direct evidence, but also to ask for the next steps, or to give you, for the guides to give you signs and synchronicities to show you if you're on the right track. You can also channel with your guides by getting a simple pen and paper and start asking yourself questions and letting the guides reply to you, but with you doing the writing. And this may come in the form of you thinking. Just make sure you put a full stop at the end of your question so then they can come through and give you a clear answer. So now that we've talked about the difference between spirit guides and your spirit team, let's have a talk about the different types of entities and archetypes. And I've got to tell you, in my signature program, Magnificent Mediumship certification, this is one of my most favorite topics, if not the most favorite, because this is where we get to stretch and use our greatest imagination and say what actually else is possible when it comes to playing with these different entities and archetypes. Now, what you want to understand is every type of entity is different. It has a different energy. And one of the gifts that I have is I can look at people and I can tell what kind of archetypes they have within their lineage, whether it is dragon or fairy or angel or troll, whether it's giants or wizards or archangels or ascended masters, because I literally can see that energy coming from them. Because the truth is, we are all hybrid. We are all many things. And the truth is, the guides that are with you, in some sense, they are you, because you may have been a guide or been on someone's spirit team at some stage as well, right? Okay, but anyway, let's get back to this. So what are some of these entities? Now, the ones that I've played with, I'm not going to go through all of them today, but I really want to highlight some of the ones that we play with in my Magnificent Mediumship certification. And the first one is dragons. So right now in 2024, we are in the year of the dragon. And a lot of people are like starting to tap into the energy of their dragons, right? Of the energy and the essence of what the dragon energy is. And what we know about the dragon is they're definitely like an elemental being. So they are really in the earth, very deeply grounded, although they fly, and they are extremely powerful. The thing that you want to know about a dragon is not to mess with them, not to take everything they say as a dictation, like not take it as this is something that I have to do because my guides told me to do that, my dragons told me to do that. In fact, if you ever get told what to do from a guide or someone in your spirit team, you need to go into your own discernment and come into your heart space, because guides and spirit teams aren't here to tell you what to do. They are here to guide you so you know what to do. So with the dragons, the discernment is very important because they can have a very strong and overbearing energy. So what you want to do is you really don't want to be like looking them in the eye and saying, let me jump on or let me fly, right? It's really more about getting to know the energy of the dragon archetype rather than diving in and playing, because there's a lot of fire involved with dragons. And if we play with too much fire, we can get burned. So discernment is extremely important. And those that I see that play with dragons are very strong leaders. They are very strong light workers, and they are here deeply to work with the earth and work with the crystalline grids, but also they've got a power within them, and that there can be absolutely utilized, and it can be used for the higher expression of reality or the lower expression. Meaning with a dragon, there's actually this neutral energy, just like money. Money is neutral, energy is neutral, right? But it's like, is it a higher expression or a lower expression? Is it being used for good or bad? And that's what we need to remember and understand about the dragons. Fairies. Okay, so fairies, I love the energy of fairies because fairies are floaty and lovely and sparkly. And let's just take into account for a minute, fairies don't necessarily look like Tinkerbell off Hook. They don't necessarily look like a fairy that we see in the fairy tale books, right? A fairy can look quite different. I don't see them with a human little face, or like they do have wings, but not necessarily like the special little fairy wings that we see in these books, right? So I want you to tap into the energy of the fairy because it's more about the vibration of the energy. Now, I've visited many fairy huts and fairy trees. In fact, by one of our beach homes, there is like a fairy tree, and you can, like, if you literally close your eyes and you expand your energy into it, you can see the fairies everywhere. Children play with fairies. Fairies are light and they're expansive. They are not dangerous. In fact, I think everybody has a fairy and everybody has a fairy name. So coming back into the childlike energy of play. This is what fairies are most attracted to. So when I see this archetype within somebody, if they've actually got fairy within their veins type of thing, they've got a playful nature. They kind of skip, they smile a lot, and they sprinkle magic wherever they go, a very childlike essence. So you may have a fairy in your spirit team. You may have a dragon in your spirit team. So I'm just wondering, what is resonating with you? Make sure you comment below and tell me if you think you've got a dragon or if you've got a fairy, because you may or you may not. The next one is trolls and pixies. Okay, I'm just doubling them up. So trolls and pixies have got this energy of like nearly kind of like sneaky, and I every now and then you'll see somebody and you're like, you've got a bit of a cheeky or a sneaky guy, don't you? And usually the people that have got a troll or a pixie on their spirit team, they're funny. They're really funny. They're kind of sneaky. They love practical jokes. They are like really about like making people happy, but kind of in a dry sense of humor way. So with pixies and trolls, it's very much about, there's like intellect in there as well. So there's a bit of thinking about how to like surprise people, how to entertain people, how to have really good conversations with people, debate with people. So the pixie energy is kind of like the fairy energy with a little bit more sass to it. It's definitely a bit spikier and pointier, and they are earth elementals as well. So they're not kind of as floaty and bouncy as the fairy. They're a little bit more stable and a little bit, I want to say, more dense and solid, although they are energetic. And the troll energy, well, we all know how it goes with trolls, right? It's very much like all sorts of emotions that come with trolls. So trolls aren't bad, right? They're not bad and they're not necessarily good. It's kind of like what we make that energy to be. But the good thing about pixies and trolls are they are fantastic at giving advice. So if you are there and you're saying, hey, spirit team, I would love some advice on how to go forward in this, they're going to use their intellect. They're going to use their humor to help you have such an epic expression of yourself as you're going forward into whatever it is that you're choosing. Mermaids and giants. Okay, so first of all, the mermaid energy is something that I've really attuned into. So this is an essence that you can tune into. So all of these archetypes and all of these entities, whether they're on your spirit team or not, you can tune into the vibration, the collective vibration of what they are. So I just wanted to put that in there as a side note. So mermaids, I'm like in love with the energy of the mermaids, because the mermaids, they are literally in the water, right? Half in the water and half on the planet. So it's very much about the regulating. So if I'm coming into my mermaid archetype, if I'm coming, because I believe that I am part mermaid, that is a part of my lineage, right? For me, it's very much about being in water, going to the beach, looking at water, drinking water, about regulating into the earth, regulating into my body. So the mermaid energy is about the energy of presence, of quiet, of inner deep diving into the soul. And when we go down into the ocean, right, and we're looking at the jewels, the pearls, and the seaweed, and all of the other living, beautiful creatures, there's this deep silence and beauty. And then when we've had enough of that, we come back up through the ocean, and we come up and we sing our song of what we've learnt in that time of deep solace, that deep sovereignty that we're bringing in. And this is the energy of the mermaid. So whether you have a mermaid on your spirit team, or whether you are part mermaid in your lineage, or whether you're just tapping into, going to the beach and tapping into the energy and the beauty, there's this beautiful amplification of the mermaid essence, which is your wisdom and your innate knowing that comes through once you tap into the energy of the mermaid. So I'm wondering if this is resonating with you. How do you feel about the mermaid? The next one, of course, is the giant. Now, giants were here on planet Earth. They lived with the humans and they were just these beautiful beings. Unfortunately, they're no longer here with us, but they were full of love and loyalty. So if you have ever felt into the giant energy, don't be like all, oh my God, the giants are scary from the movies that I've watched, like Jack and the Beanstalk and all that type of stuff, because the truth is, it's more the gentle giant. It's more the giants have love. They desire absolute freedom, and they are here to learn how to take up space. So if you have got a giant on your spirit team, maybe they're here to help you to take up space, to be seen, to open up your big heart so you can be available for those around you and use your compassion and your gentleness, but also the largeness of your aura to be seen and heard on this planet. I'm just wondering if you have any giants on your spirit team, or maybe you've got a little bit of giant within your bloodline. Interesting. Let me know in the comments, please. So of course, we've got angels and light beings. Okay. So angels, light beings, and extraterrestrials people can get these all mixed up. So angels aren't necessarily the type of angels that we have learnt about in church and in the storybooks. So when I tap into the energy of angels, sometimes I can see a bit of a form of a human, but mostly I just see light and wings. A lot of the wings and a lot of the light and what we see in church and in storybooks is the symbology of what an angel is. And often angels will appear to us and show themselves to us and how we presume they look. And the evidence of this is when we're doing mediumship. I'm doing a psychic mediumship reading and somebody's nana comes through, and the truth is the nana no longer looks like that. The nana is in the ground, right? The nana doesn't look like a human anymore. But for me to understand and to get my the evidence through to who I'm reading for, that's the nana, they show me in human form. And angels are a little bit like this as well. So they're going to show us the form that we recognize to know that they're an angel. So I invite you to tap into the energy of what an angel feels like. And maybe you've met an angel, or half a dozen or a dozen or a million. Maybe you've met some. I've met many earth angels, and I can be sitting there and all of a sudden, as I'm doing a reading, I can see these angel wings behind the person I'm reading for. And I'm like, oh my goodness, you're an angel. Right. And that's that archetype that I talk about, that bloodline, like it's like a bloodline. It's in your DNA. It's in your lineage that you are angelic. And maybe you've been told you're an earth angel. Maybe you have. Maybe you've seen an earth angel. I'd love to know. Let me know. But here's the thing. On everybody's spirit team, there is angels. Now, I was gifted 9 angels when I was a teenager from a beautiful, beautiful lady who went to at the church I used to go to, the Catholic church. And she truly, truly believed in angels. So she sent me 9. And my sister mentioned this to me the other day, and I was like, oh my goodness. I was sent 9 angels, but I also already have many angels on my spirit team. There is choirs and choirs and choirs of angels that literally are here to support you. They are here to be with you. They are here to love you unconditionally, because unconditional love is really hard to access here on planet Earth unless you're intentionally doing so because of the busyness. And angels are here to remind us that unconditional love is the way that we are meant to be living. So angels are everywhere. There's earth angels. You've got them in your spirit team. Many of you are literally angels yourselves, and you've been angels, and you've come down here to experience what it's like to be deeply human, because of course angels want to understand us so much, so they put themselves in our form, which means you may be an angel as well. When it comes to the extraterrestrials and the light beings, these are very different energies. Okay, so they can get all mixed up when it comes to the energy and the vibration, the frequency of all of them, the angels, the extraterrestrials, and the light beings, because they are all of the highest realms. They are all beyond the seventh dimension, which means they're more a collective energy. So the individualization is kind of separated because it becomes more of a collective flow and energy system that we can access. So extraterrestrials, now they are very multidimensional. So from the 5D up, there's many different types of extraterrestrials, like literally more than I could possibly know or count or even fathom, to be honest with you. But extraterrestrials are very similar to the energies of the trolls and the dragons, meaning like they can go either way. They can be a high frequency or a lower frequency. It depends on where you're playing at and who you're playing with. So I'm only ever available for the highest frequency and vibrational beings from the highest realms in the true white light. And this is what I say in all of the processes that I do and all of the processes that I teach, is we must be deeply grounded and we must be deeply in our love, deeply in our light, and open up a channel to receive. So I'm just not available for anything that's lower vibrational. But don't be fooled. There is many low vibrational entities out there that will mess with you if you have low standards or boundaries, if you have loose boundaries. So the highest ETs, extraterrestrials, we've got like the Lyrian collectors, we've got the Lemurians, we've got the Palladians, we've got the Orions, Arcturians. There is many of them, and they are so beautiful, and they're not so different from us, meaning some of them have form, some of them are not, right? And they do have their own planets, but there's also the spirits of those entities that have actually passed away as well. So just like we have spirits, often there is these spirits of the extraterrestrials as well, and they can be a part of your spirit team. And this is literally just scraping the surface. By the way, if you're loving this stuff, come over and see me in Awakened Community with Victoria Bond on Facebook, because you can access so much more in that group, and I'll be there to support you. So let's keep going. So extraterrestrials are not something that we should be afraid of, but we must discern who we're playing with, and whatever vibration we're at, we are attracting that to match us. And this is why I always say the highest vibrations, frequencies, and from the highest realms of the true white light, because I'm only available for the highest levels and vibrations, of course, right? And this is why I don't do seances and I don't invite spirits off the street. If something happens when it comes to mediumship and I need to help someone pass over, I've got an entire spirit team and a whole lot of guides and angels supporting me in that process for that spirit. Okay, so light beings are light, they are love, and they will never, just like angels, they will never interfere with you, okay? So I had a conversation with somebody in my Magnificent Mediumship certification, and she was opening up to extraterrestrials, which is something that I play with pretty deeply in my own personal reality. And the interesting thing about it was she started getting kind of like harassed, right? So she was seeing like it was kind of like gray, like coming through the TV, and there were signs and synchronicities, now popping. It didn't feel bad, but it didn't feel good, and it was very intrusive. So she was like, this is starting to affect my family life, it's starting to affect me, I'm not okay with this. And that is just an example of many stories that I have. But that there is like inviting the extraterrestrials in, right? And they don't have the boundaries because they're a mirror of you. And if you don't have boundaries, then this is what's going to happen. But with the light beings, it's completely different. A light being will never intrude. A light being will never be invasive. They will never kind of like pop out of your television or be hiding around the corner when you go to the toilet, right? That's just not a part of their vibe. Light beings are more evolved I don't want to call them spirits, but they're more evolved energy, right? And this can be in the form of collectives. But mostly we need to understand this could even be an energy of our higher selves. It's that type of vibration, our higher self energy, this all-knowing souls, the evolution of that, of consciousness itself. And that's what I kind of align the light beings with, which you can see is very different to the extraterrestrials and even the angels, but kind of similar to the angels, but the angels still have this more individualization, this essence to them, and they've got a lot of jobs, right? Where the light beings are more like collective work, the angels are more like, they're like, let me take on these jobs type of thing. So wizards and witches, really interesting. I had a wizard who was trying to mess with me a couple of years ago. They sometimes can have a snaky energy, right? Now, again, wizards and witches, like witches are a whole different energy, which I'll talk about in a minute, but wizards aren't bad. But often, like if they have a job to destroy somebody from like evolving, kind of like some darker energies, which I'm not going to go into on YouTube. This is more of what I do in Magnificent Mediumship Certification. But some of the darker entities, they've got jobs, and their jobs, just like the angels, which is all light and love and all of everything else, it's really interesting because this wizard wanted to destroy me and stop me from evolving to my highest potentials. And I could feel something watching me. And I was like, that is weird. So I talked to somebody who does work with me, and they said, yeah, there's a wizard there watching you, and they haven't done anything yet. So that is like a lower frequency entity because its job was to stop me from evolving. So what we did is we just transmuted that pattern. We transmuted that job and that contract and sent the wizard to the true white light for healing, and it literally dissipated. So the wizard could go do its own healing with Creator and transmute and shift and raise its vibration. How cool is that, right? So we don't have anything to fear from wizards. Now, witches is a really interesting energy, and I play with this in my programs. It's like, what does the witch energy mean to you? Now, we know what the collective energy of witches are, right? And that's kind of like the big pointy nose and the pointy hat and the casting spells and kind of like the voodoo stuff, and that's how it's been portrayed. The truth is that, you know, back in the olden days, if you as much as, you know, made some parsley and thyme rub to put on your horse's nose, or some lavender to put on your child's chest to breathe in the cold season or whatever, you were deemed to be a witch and you were burnt alive. And there's a whole lot of history and deep sadness and healing that we're going through right now to heal this witch wound. So basically, you can have the energy of, just like the wizards, like you can have the lower energy and the higher energy, because there could be a lot of bitterness about what has happened in the past. So you can have the energy of pain and suffering and that collective energy to do with the witches. And this could actually affect you if you were tapping into that archetype, okay? The other energy is having a beautiful goddess, right? A witch is like a goddess energy, like a deep healer, a sacred sexuality, like absolute sensuality, femininity. That there is the witch energy, and many of you have got the goddess / witch, which is kind of one together, because this is how we're healing it in your spirit teams, right? We have goddesses, and we can see this with Isis, and we can see this with Mary Magdalene and Mary Salome, and all of, you know, and by the way, these archetypes can sometimes kind of cross over. So Mary Magdalene is also in the Ascended Masters, right? But also as goddess and that witch energy. So I'm just going to let you just sit on that one there as well, because it's like there's so much to it and there's so many layers, and I'm just trying to express this with my very limited human words here. And of course, let's talk about the Ascended Masters. We can talk about the Christ consciousness. There's the Isis and the goddesses and all of which is under there. We have got so many of the beings that were here with us: Mother Teresa, Princess Diana, Buddha. There's all of these energies of, like, and Spirit is here because my nose is itchy, of the greater good, those that have done things for the greater good. And there's many names that I don't know of. There's these many disciples of planet Earth that are here, these beings of light, these light beings that are here to be the light workers, right? So the ascended masters are here not to dictate, they are here to guide you. And if you've ever had a vision of Mary or Jesus, which I totally have during my Reiki attunements and also when I'm in channel and we bring in the goddess energy, of course, we have these big downloads of pure love, which is the highest form of energy and the only absolute truth. So when it comes to the Ascended Masters and the Archangels, and when it comes to the light beings and the galactic collectives as a whole, like we were talking about before, these are the energies that we can tap into. These are the energies that we remember. Our DNA, we remember who we are, we remember our innate knowing and our innate wisdom, so we can bring it to the world. Your spirit teams are made up of many types of beings that are here to support you when you are asking for it. They will give you the answers that you are looking for and the direction that you are looking for. But it's up to you to get out of your own way so you can actually see what they're giving you and be grateful for every tiny breadcrumb, because every breadcrumb will lead you to the thing that you are most desiring truly. Not necessarily what you consciously think that you want, but what you truly want on a soul level, not just what you think you want. The guides are always here for your greatest good. And when I said, look, I surrender, I'll do whatever it takes to be more awake, to be more conscious, to serve the world, whatever it takes. Oh my goodness, the surrendering was the hardest thing to do because it might mean moving town. It might mean shifting relationships. It might mean taking a big 10x leap, which is exactly what I did. So I know that I'm fully supported, guided, loved, always. I know that I've got a spirit team that's always with me and spirit guides that I can call on at any time. Now, I'm not codependent on them. I don't sit around waiting for them to give me guidance. I am literally moving all the time. And if information comes in, I'm like, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's keep going, you know. So I also acknowledge that I am a guide. I'm a guide for many in human form and in spirit form. I can literally go over and guide other people by leaving my body. What do you think we do at night? How many people are you guiding while you're asleep and visiting? Just an interesting perspective. I would love to know what your favorite pop-outs, what popped for you today, what landed for you. Pop it in the chat box. Let me know. What type of spirit guides and team do you think you have? What types of archetype energies do you think you have within you? Have you experienced ETs and light beings and angels, witches and wizards and dragons and fairies and trolls and pixies? What have you experienced? Again, this is just the tip of the iceberg. If you want to know more about this, if you've got questions for me, if you want to come and experience live card readings with me, come over to my community on Facebook, Awaken with Victoria Bond on Facebook. I can't wait to play with you. I can't wait to read your comments. Make sure you subscribe if you have not done so already. Go check out my other videos, and I would love for you to share this video if you think it was interesting. I'll see you guys next time. Namaste.